Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. There it is. Boom. Going to be spending some money in the next month, getting some better lighting. I know you like the Halloween shadow lighting. Oh, progressive politics. But we're going to fix it. Don't worry. I'm glad. Thanks for sticking with me. We've improved the show a lot. This is an improvement from we did last summer. Everything's going good. One of the reasons I'm able to, I spent the money on this and I'm going to spend the money on better lighting is because you guys support me at the Patreon level. You go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood, become a member, become a political vigilante, because you get to submit articles like Lauren D'Alessandro submitted to me. Banks got a $21 billion tax windfall, then fired thousands and rewarded themselves. Really? The banks did that? No way. The banks, by the way, are already starting to warn about a recession coming. Oh, thank you for warning us about a thing that you created. Awesome. I really appreciate that. You're so kind and benevolent. You disgusting shitbags. By the year end, most of the nation's largest lenders met or exceeded their initial predictions for tax savings. Now, this is based on the tax break that the GOP gave them. On average, the banks saw their effective tax rates fall below 19% from the roughly 28% they paid in 2016. They're still trying trickle-down economics from Reagan. Really? Okay. The billionaires, they're all known. The CEOs of banks are the most benevolent, philanthropic people the planet has ever seen, correct? I mean, of course they would give the money back to the... You know what it used to be? I was talking about this with a good friend of mine when I was in Chicago, who is, he's like a Reagan Republican, and he's disgusted by Trump. He's like, I can't identify with the Republican Party, and he's voted Republican a bunch. He voted for Obama's first term. He's socially liberal on a lot of issues, pretty fiscally conservative, but he's like what the Republican Party was 30 years ago. He's like, this racism, this is awful. He goes, I don't identify with the Democratic Party either. And he said, what billionaires used to do? They felt they would build schools and foundations and help people. They felt an obligation to give money back to the community. Now they just buy another jet and another house, and the only reason they'll give to charity is if it's some sort of tax dodge. It's unbelievable, man. And while the break set off a gusher of payouts to shareholders, firms cut thousands of jobs and saw their lending growth slow. This is in Bloomberg. This is not, right? I mean, there's my crazy light thing. Bloomberg, we'll get it fixed. But this is the point. That's when they say, when you hear the people in the mainstream media, like George Stephanopoulos on election night in November, this panel of people, boy, the economy's good. For stocks, for shareholders. 85% of all stocks traded are owned by, take a guess, the 1%. Wow. So the 1% have benefited from this trickle down, but not you and me. 4 of the 6 largest U.S. banks paid less taxes than they projected. This is the black. So the black is the forecast, and the red is what they actually paid. Bank of America projected 20%. They only paid 18.6. They projected 25, only paid 22. Projected 24. Goldman Sachs, really? They're awesome. Oh wow, they had the biggest disparity. Oh, weird. They're weird. They're gonna cause another recession. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it. J.P. Morgan. Oh boy, they're the only ones who predicted less and paid more than what they predicted. Morgan Stanley. Oh, and Wells Fargo. Oh wow, by 8%, because they got all those fake accounts that they created. Jackasses. Right? And what did they say they would do? What is the thing we always hear? We got to deregulate. Less taxes. They'll give it back to the community. More jobs. Better. No. More jobs for Learjet salesmen. Yeah. Yacht brokers. I'm sure they're doing great. I'm sure everything's going through the roof for the yacht brokers and the polo horse commodities market, or however you buy those rich asshole toys. The financial industry promised to pass the savings along to employees, small businesses, and communities in need of financial help. Instead, the 23 firms boosted dividends and stock buybacks 23% and slashed thousands of jobs, with a few signaling that more layoffs are in store. All of them except 2 paid less in taxes than they predicted, and they still got to cut jobs? So shareholders are doing fine, but actual bank employees are getting laid off. Employees were a mixed bag of bank employees who kept their jobs. Some got bonuses, such as 145,000 bank of employee workers who received a $1,000 bonus last year. Oh, that's good. That's fine. Man, sure, $1,000 is a big. I'd take a grand bonus. Wells Fargo rewarded their poorest employees by boosting minimum wage to $15 an hour. Oh, okay. Nice. That said, Wells Fargo and Bank of America slashed nearly 4,900 and 4,000 jobs last year, only to be outdone by Citigroup's 5,000 job cuts. Wow, thanks. So some people get $15 an hour. So this is just a marketing thing to say, see, we gave back, and then they cut jobs. $21 trillion tax breaks all in, and they got to cut jobs. Any CEOs take a pay cut over there? Wells Fargo, Citigroup, anybody? No? While the banks did not provide regional breakdowns, press reports revealed that at least some of the cuts were international. Oh, thanks. You get all those tax breaks, the amount of jobs you should cut is 0. Cut CEO salaries and keep people working. This is why we need public banks, guys. This is why Los Angeles just put a ballot measure up and got still like 46% of the vote with very little money behind it. Put public banks on every ballot. Just fight for it. Put it on every ballot until it passes in every town. Just do it. Just do it. Fuck them. Like for real. Like fuck them. Like hardcore fuck them. Those employees who weren't fired received an average of raise of 3.6% last year among the 23 banks surveyed. Bank of America, for example, boosted its bonuses last year to encompass more employees. That said, the ratio of personal cost to revenue declined as banks gave workers a similar slice of money they brought in. A smaller slice of the money they brought in. Customers, meanwhile, did not benefit significantly from banks' tax withdrawal, as loan portfolios only increased by 2.3% in 2018. They increased by 3.6% a year earlier. So that's significant because one of the things they said is we don't have to pay so many taxes, then we can let small business loans happen. They don't care about small business loans because small business loans are, in their eyes, considered risky. There's a high default rate because small new businesses go under. And you might not get your money back. So they're not going to take the risk. Even though investing in communities is what banks used to do. The old savings and loans, that's what you would do. They realize that if I invest in the small business owner, that's good for our community. Because if this business does well and it grows, A, the bank gets its money back plus interest. B, that business grows, more people get jobs, more people have jobs, more people can buy and open up banking accounts and blah, 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 blah. So when this happened, Bernie Sanders, the stock buybacks, he was very public about it. Right? As was, I think, Tom Perez, because he's just trying to coattail Bernie. So here's what the CEO of Goldman Sachs said on Twitter. They did an op-ed. Bernie Sanders did an op-ed piece. Excuse me, Chuck Schumer. Wow. Who's gotten more money from Goldman Sachs than anybody. So this is the op-ed piece they did. Senator Schumer and Senator Sanders argued that when corporations dedicate so much of their resources to buying back shares, they restrain their capacity to invest profits more meaningfully. This is the CEO. A company used to be encouraged to return money to shareholders when it couldn't reinvest itself for a good return. The money doesn't vanish. It gets reinvested in higher growth businesses that boost the economy and jobs. Is that bad? For working people, yes, it's horrible. For you and your rich asshole friends, it's not bad. No. For all the guys at the country club, no, you're fine. The yacht club folks, they're fine. But people who like tellers, just working class people. The tellers, the loan officers, the bank manager, you know, some of the banks by me, there's like guys like the guy I'm buddies with at one of the branches I go to. He works for a parking company because it's a small parking lot, so he directs people in and out. A lot of banks have this. Did he get a bonus? Did the tellers behind the counter, did they get a bonus? Or did some of them lose their jobs? Is this a bad thing? Another out-of-touch, jackass billionaire. The head of Goldman Sachs. Has he ever had to... You ever work for a living, Lloyd? Huh? You ever move furniture? I've moved furniture. You ever move furniture? You ever do construction, Lloyd? Lloyd, he probably drives for Uber. Probably has to, just to pay his bills, right? Because the government keeps sticking it to him. More cuts are on the horizon as well. State Street Corp announced in January that it will be laying off 1,500 people thanks to automation. While Citigroup may cut thousands of staff from their technology and operations areas in the coming years. Wow. Remember Lloyd's name, gang. When the recession hits, remember his name. Remember this tax break. Remember who signed off on it. Republicans and Democrats. Remember who did it. My name's Graham Elwood. Join me on the road and Ron Placone on the road at the Progressive Comedy Tour. We're doing shows March, April, May, and June. We're going to be adding more dates in the summer. There's a new Stay in Your Lane comedy show March 23rd at the Corbin Bowl in beautiful Tarzana. Tickets are $10. They're available at grahamelwood.com. Like, subscribe, share the videos, positive comments, thumbs up, the whole deal. Watch the ads. When you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Thanks for watching.